EV chargers being installed right behind me on Adams Street, what this means for the electric vehicle economy.
And I'm in Louisiana. I'm going to tell you about all the economic impact that Super Bowl 59 is bringing to New Orleans.
Plus, an exclusive interview with Streamline CEO Ryan Schreiber. Hold on to your wallets because Market Shares starts right now.
Hey, good afternoon and welcome into Market Shares. I'm Peter Elliot.
And I'm Mike Lamorte. Peter, closing bell just rang. Let's take a look at how the major indexes just ended the week.
All in the green, Michael. Another winning week on Wall Street. This was, I don't think many expected this to be a winning week after what happened last week. The major news from DeepSeek in the kind of how it shook up the space there. But the NASDAQ, S&P 500, and Dow Jones all in the green.
And it wasn't just DeepSeek. I mean, DeepSeek has definitely been a topic of conversation across the major indexes and its potential impacts on it. But it was also that uncertainty with President Trump and the tariff plan. Today, he did announce that he got off the phone with the Prime Minister of Japan. He's considering placing tariffs on Japan, and that could also affect the market as well.
That will continue to make this market so volatile. It is shifting day to day, but as we end this week, all the major indexes are up. All right, let's move on to our movers of the week, and we will start with Amazon first. Its stock slid actually down. I know it's been a big week for the indexes, but Amazon not the strongest week after it kind of downgraded its expectations for this first quarter. It expected to earn about $158 billion. It'll be somewhere in between $151 and $155 billion.
Yeah, exactly there. The uncertainty with Amazon, the reason why it might be down, well, they released their fourth quarter results. That actually beat the Wall Street's expectations, but there's uncertainty now with their quarter one earnings, and Wall Street is now saying that it might be less than they are expecting. So that's what's actually contributing to the stock price today. But as you did say, the expected revenue between 151 to 155 billion. That estimate, though, was 158 billion for quarter one. So that's where the uncertainty lies with Amazon. But you know, they're a big company. They're not going anywhere. So I don't want to say you can expect a rebound, but Amazon's going to be sticking around for a long time, so not too much to worry about.
It's a great point. You don't want to bet on Amazon going away anytime soon here, certainly, especially now they are going all in on AI, of course, and building new data centers. Their CEO, Andy Jassy, says the company is betting big on AI this year. Amazon Web Services is still one of its biggest generators of revenue, and it is the largest cloud infrastructure provider by far, leading Microsoft and Google as well. Andy Jassy says it could be growing faster, if not for some of those shortages with motherboards and AI chips. And so Amazon down on the week, but we think it'll still have a pretty strong year at the end of things. All right, let's move on to our next mover as well, also related to AI chips. It is NVIDIA, Michael.
NVIDIA, I have been the beat reporter for NVIDIA here at Market Shares. Had to talk about them today. A bounce back week for them. They're up 13%. That's about $15 this week. The last month they were down 7%, almost 8% actually, after the stock price floated around $140. So this week, NVIDIA is kind of getting that relief as they're climbing back up to where they were a month ago. A lot of that has to do with DeepSeek. We talked about them at the top of the show. DeepSeek purchased 10,000 of NVIDIA's chips. Now that is a reason why the stock price is currently going up. And Wall Street, they're a little bit worried whether DeepSeek will continue to rely on NVIDIA stocks. But if they do, definitely going to be good for the company.
Yeah, there is still obviously strong demand for these kind of processing chips that NVIDIA provides. It's been one of the strongest stocks over the last year and a half. If you zoom out just beyond this week and how it's been affected by DeepSeek, we think it'll be in a strong position moving forward. Again, a strong last couple months, a strong last week, even after all that volatility surrounding DeepSeek. We'll have to wait and see, though, what happens there. Let's move on to our final mover of the week. It is also up. It is Palantir, and this is somewhat related to how well the AI stocks have been doing as of late. This is kind of the major company that does data management and software on the battlefield, really, for some of the major intelligence and defense companies, and as well as for the government, both here in the U.S. and abroad. The UK also one of its biggest the biggest company, the countries rather, it works for. Palantir is definitely benefiting from this AI boom, Michael.
Absolutely, a lot of that due to the sales right here in the U.S. They rose to about $558 million, though the CEO of the company a little bit upset with its success overseas in Europe. That only rose about 4%, but still growth, still good for the company, and we're going to continue to monitor that.
And this is one of those companies that could really benefit from this new presidential administration. Obviously, Peter Thiel is one of the company's co-founders. He has supported President Trump. He was one of the major backers of Vice President J.D. Vance's Ohio Senate race. And so they're in a strong position to really benefit. Even as Doge kind of takes a wrecking ball to the federal government as we know it, a lot of analysts think that Palantir is in a good position here to benefit from it. Obviously, it's got major corporate clients as well as the government. So Palantir up on the week, and it could be up certainly moving forward, Michael.
Well, Peter, now the big question here in the U.S., what is the biggest economic indicator for Americans? It's eggs. The cost of eggs have skyrocketed by 50% this past year, and it is now priced at over $5 for a dozen. That's up just over $3 a year ago, and now the sharp rise in costs have caused people to start stealing eggs. Thieves in Pennsylvania stole over 100,000 eggs worth $40,000 this week, showing just how valuable that breakfast item has become. Well, economists point to the bird flu outbreak, which has killed millions of hens, alongside a strong winter demand for eggs as the primary causes for the price hike. It's getting to the point where many restaurants like the Waffle House are adding a surcharge for eggs. As the price hikes continue, the White House and lawmakers are facing increased pressure to deliver on campaign trails for economic promises.
Egg thieves, unbelievable. After a 10% tariff on Chinese products took effect Tuesday, China announced retaliatory measures including tariffs and an investigation of Google. The tariffs were imposed by President Trump to pressure Beijing into cracking down on shipments of fentanyl into the U.S. China responded with tariffs on things like coal, liquefied natural gas, and farm machinery, effective Monday. The country also implemented restrictions on the export of several critical minerals used in high-tech products, and it's launching an anti-monopoly investigation into Google, which is currently blocked on the Chinese internet. The tariffs impact more than $400 billion in goods purchased annually from China. Trump has agreed to pause tariffs on Mexico and Canada for 30 days after both countries agreed to step up their oversight of fentanyl and their respective borders with the U.S. China's retaliatory tariffs affect a smaller percentage of U.S. exports, but further escalation could lead to a trade war between the world's two largest economies, Michael.
Well, Peter, if you've ever driven down I-81, you've probably seen a billboard for Shenyang. The religious performing arts dance group is now under criminal investigations from federal authorities for possible visa fraud and labor violations. The probe is led by Homeland Security, the State Department, and the Manhattan federal prosecutors following accusations of grueling work hours, human trafficking, and smuggling cash overseas. The dance group reports almost $300 million in assets at the end of 2023, with their most recent tax filing showing nearly all of that kept in cash and other liquid instruments. Shenyang denies any wrongdoing, saying the company complies with all laws and operates with integrity.
That Shenyang actually located in downstate New York in Orange County. Great reporting there by the New York Times that has kind of unveiled those accusations. Well, on Thursday, a judge signed a temporary agreement limiting the sharing of sensitive Treasury data amid a dispute over access granted to Elon Musk's allies and Doge. The agreement allows two Musk associates to access a government payment system containing the personal and financial data of millions of Americans. They cannot alter records and are limited to read-only access. This comes after a lawsuit from labor unions concerned about access to Social Security numbers and banking details. This case remains ongoing, with the judge considering a temporary restraining order.
And Spotify beat revenue expectations, reporting its first full year of profit. The company posted strong fourth quarter earnings of $380 million. That's up from a loss of over $70 million last year. Spotify reached almost 700 million monthly active users, far surpassing analyst expectations, with a strong 35 million user increase on the app. The stock soared 10% in early trading and has jumped 170% over the past year, reaching all-time highs. CEO Daniel Ek predicts healthy growth and improved profitability throughout this next year, with a strong focus on music and AI-driven technologies.
Do people want AI innovations in their music?
I'm not sure, Peter.
I don't know. I just want my music. Electric vehicles are expected to make up 10% of all vehicle sales this year, and with that comes a growing need for EV infrastructure. Roman Verna is live from Adams Street in Syracuse, where new chargers are being built to meet that demand. Roman, what can you tell us?
Yeah, thanks, guys. Well, right behind me are some new Tesla chargers being installed on Adams Street, right behind Marshall Square Mall. And this comes as part of a greater sustainability initiative from both the university and the city, and it also follows some consumer trends recently. In 2024, we saw a 7% increase in EV sales. And Peter, as you said, we also saw that 10% of vehicle sales in 2025 are expected to be electric vehicles. Now, this is interesting to look at, especially when you see how EVs are doing on the political side of things, because Donald Trump has actually rolled back a $5 billion Biden-era plan to bring new electric infrastructure to cities just like Syracuse. And a key member of Donald Trump's cabinet is, of course, Tesla owner Elon Musk. Now, we can look at Tesla's stock recently, and they have not been doing too hot. Tesla is down nearly 5% on the week and is currently trading at around $367 a share. Now, it's also important to look at Tesla worldwide. In Germany, after Musk backed a far-right German politician, Tesla sales have dropped a lot, nearly 60%, and those are sales so far in 2025, I believe. And we can see that electric vehicles are actually doing really well in Europe, but it's just not Tesla that's performing so well. And that same thing might start to happen in the United States. We'll see companies like Ford and Chevy start to bring their EV models in and get a greater share of the market value. And then also foreign nations like China and Japan importing cars in the United States electric. Going to be really interesting to see how that plays out. That's all I have for now. Guys, back to you.
Roman, thank you so much. Electric stuff. After the break, we'll have a full breakdown of Super Bowl 59, what it means for the New Orleans economy and your pocketbook. Stay with us here on Market Shares.
I'm an actor in an ad that was given 12 seconds to remind you that if you're high, just don't drive. Because if you feel different, you drive different. It's illegal to drive high everywhere anyway.
If you need to do something to feel okay to drive, you're not okay to drive. Don't drive buzzed.
Super Bowl 59 is right around the corner. Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs taking on Jalen Hurts and the Eagles for the second time in the last 3 years. Not a lot of fans happy about that matchup, but this year in New Orleans, it'll be a big game. Our Riley Underwood is on the ground in the Big Easy talking to business owners about what this means for the local economy.
So far this week in New Orleans, we've seen about every celebrity and NFL Hall of Famer you can think of walking around. We've also seen NFL fans, both Eagles and Chiefs fans walking around, and also just a lot of tourists. That's going to add a lot of money into this New Orleans economy. Last year in Las Vegas, over $1 billion was attributed to the Super Bowl being in Nevada. And this year, I think in New Orleans, we can see it go a little bit higher. We can expect about $30 million just to be generated in tax revenue alone. All those little food and merchandise taxes, yeah, they add up. When I checked last night to get your hotel room in New Orleans, average was $650 per night in a hotel. That's just the average. Talked to a couple shop owners in the French Quarter earlier this week. They said they were really excited for the new guests.
But we're ready.
All the vendors are ready, and we have the merchandise. And you know, even if you don't buy, come down here to the French market.
We're expecting a big weekend. We're stocked up. We're ready, and we're hoping everybody comes. Saints aren't in there, so go football.
The biggest winner this year, Caesars. Not only are they the naming rights sponsor of the Superdome, they also have the only casino in New Orleans, along with one of the biggest hotels. If you want to run a commercial during the Super Bowl, that's going to run you about $8 million, but those already sold out in November. If you want to get a ticket, no, it's not too late, but you can go up to the upper deck in the end zone, get one for $2,500. It's going to cost you a pretty penny if you want to take the trip down to New Orleans. So here in New Orleans, home of the Super Bowl, Riley Underwood, Market Shares on CitrusTV.
Riley, thank you so much for your reporting from New Orleans. Well, one thing you can bet on is that fans will be betting. From the color of the post-game Gatorade bath to the length of the national anthem, one thing fans love doing is wagering on the big game. Sports betting on the Super Bowl continues to be one of the biggest moneymakers for the event. Our Olivia Rodriguez has more in studio. Olivia?
That's right, Peter. With Super Bowl 59 only 2 days away, fans are gearing up to cheer on the Eagles and the Chiefs. But the teams aren't the only things that viewers will have their eyes on this Sunday. It's the bookie. Annually, the Super Bowl stands as the biggest sporting event day in the country. Now, the American Gaming Association says that Super Bowl 58 in my hometown of Las Vegas saw nearly 68% of American adults betting on the game. This year, the AGA predicts nearly $1.5 billion in bets will be placed on this year's Super Bowl, an 11% increase from last year. AGA President Bob Miller says that, quote, "This figure underscores the positive impact of the legal market, from protecting consumers to generating tax revenue that benefits communities across the country while enhancing the experience for all." Now, Miller's emphasis on the legal market is important. Sports betting saw an estimated $150 billion in illegal wagers before the 2018 law overturning the federal ban on sports betting. This all comes after the popular stock trading app Robinhood announced it's withdrawing its plans to offer Super Bowl betting contracts just hours after it had released its plans to do so. The app claimed it was because of pushback from the Commodity Futures Trading Commission, which raised concerns that the contracts may be illegal. The CFTC says that the contracts, quote, "may not be permissible under the law." But just because Robinhood is pulling out doesn't mean that other companies aren't getting a piece of the game. DraftKings, the popular sports gambling company, is gearing up for a big day on Sunday, but things are looking a little different this year. DraftKings stocks has dropped 4% this week. Ohio Governor Mike DeWine said on Monday that the state's new proposed budget would raise the tax on sports betting from 20% to 40%. Other states across the nation are also seeing a massive increase in sports betting tax. Despite all this, Wall Street seems optimistic about DraftKings stock. Now, while I'm not a believer in the Super Bowl theory that says that the NFC win will cause the markets to rise, I am a believer in the after effects of the game. According to Forbes, last year's Super Bowl generated a $1 billion impact for my city of Las Vegas. And with sports betting this year set to generate around the same amount, only time will tell how much gamblers are set to win or lose. Peter and Michael, back to you.
Well, thanks so much, Olivia. Well, Peter, speaking of those ads, a 30-second commercial for Super Bowl 59 this Sunday may hit $8 million. And that's just to reserve the time slot. Factors in production expenses and an ad expense could cost over $10 million. So with prices mounting, some companies, Peter, they're opting out of the Super Bowl ads entirety, or others turning to AI to cut those costs. Well, here to talk more about this is our analyst, Teaghan Brostrom. Teaghan?
That's right. As Super Bowl 59 approaches, businesses are questioning the value of investing in high-profile advertisements. Last year, over 120 million people watched the big game, totaling around $550 million in commercial ad space. This year, Fox has sold several advertisements over the $8 million mark, putting the network at over $700 million in sales for the football game alone. In response to mounting costs, many companies are turning to artificial intelligence. Using AI in Super Bowl advertisements will cut production costs by hundreds of thousands of dollars. The Wall Street Journal says AI can assist in script writing, video editing, and even generating realistic visuals, thereby minimizing the need for extensive human labor. All that means less staff on the payroll. A 2021 study found nearly half of TV viewers don't even watch the commercials. Despite this, the Super Bowl remains one of the most watched events annually. Viewership estimates for Sunday's game range from 100 to 150 million viewers. The audience, whether they're attentive or not, continues to make advertisers swarms, as Forbes estimates the Chiefs and Eagles will see a 4% increase in viewership from their 2023 Super Bowl matchup.
Teaghan, sometimes in the Super Bowl we see a trend. Lots of ads for one service. In 2022, that was cryptocurrency. This year, will there be any category of ad that will have the most commercials?
I think you'll be happy to hear that snacks are by far the biggest category of ads this year. A lot of the companies with ads are having their Super Bowl debut. General Mills Totino pizza rolls and Mondelez Ritz crackers are some of those. But other snack companies are featuring celebrities to engage their viewers. Pringles is including Adam Brody, Nick Offerman, and James Harden at a Pringle party. And Nerds is featuring country artist Shabuzi, who's snacking on Nerds gummy clusters. Surprisingly, the auto department isn't well represented this year. Jeep and Ram are the only automobile brands that will be on air, and it's fair to say I think the snack companies were excited to take those spots.
Yeah, well, a lot of adflation going on. I gotta say, I tune into the Super Bowl all the time to watch those ads. So, Teaghan, out of all the ads so far, which one's your favorite?
Well, out of the ads that have been released, the Instacart We're Here ad is definitely one of my favorites, and I'm excited to see it on the big screen. But this is their Super Bowl debut, and it's bringing together all of the grocery store mascots. So we see Mr. Clean, the Green Giant, the Energizer Bunny, and they're all running towards a big grocery bag. Companies are doing everything they can to capture their audience's attention during their 30 seconds of airtime. So it's going to be a fun weekend of ad watching. Back to you guys.
All right, Teaghan, thank you so much. We will be paying attention during those ad breaks. Well, Fox is launching a direct-to-consumer streaming service by the end of the year, according to CEO Lachlan Murdoch. This new service would stand alongside Tubi, its free ad-supported service. The move comes after Fox and its partners dropped efforts to launch a joint sports streaming app service called Venue. The upcoming platform will feature both sports and news content, the only two things people still watch on live TV. Fox will broadcast the Super Bowl on linear television as well as on Tubi for free.
Well, still to come here on Market Shares, an exclusive interview with Streamline CEO Ryan Schreiber. You don't want to miss it. Stay with us.
You quit smoking and thought, that's that. But here's the thing about lung cancer. By the time you see the symptoms, it could be too late. But now, there's a new scan that can detect lung cancer early, when it's more curable. If you smoked, get scanned. Talk to your doctor or learn more at savedbythescan.org.
Dad?
Just 1 minute, okay?
Hey, Bobo, do trees tell each other stories?
I'm sorry. I'm afraid I don't know that.
Hey, why don't we go find out? Listen.
Do clouds take naps?
I couldn't tell you.
Can birds draw pictures?
I don't have an answer for that.
Dad, do stars visit their friends?
Look!
Well, welcome back to Market Shares. Joining me now is co-founder and CEO of Streamline, Ryan Schreiber. Mr. Schreiber, it's great to have you on the show. Now, from my understanding, Streamline is an app that allows users to follow what shows and sports games, teams as well, that your friends are watching, and then also tells you where you can watch that. So talk to me a little bit more about that app. What else does that app entail for users?
Yeah, Mike, thanks for having me, first of all. And yeah, excited to share with you what we're doing at Streamline. Streamline is really a one-stop shop to navigate what to watch in terms of sports, shows, and movies. And we really just want to be the place where you can see what your friends are watching.
Now, following along, I've seen a couple of podcasts as well as articles that you were featured on. You called streaming, how it's set up now, especially with the sports world, a mess. So what is that mess, and why did it cause you to then say, hey, let's create Streamline?
A couple years ago, I was just looking for something to watch one night, just like anyone, right? I was sitting on my couch and I'm scrolling for 20 minutes. I find something, my wife doesn't want to watch it. So we think that it's just become kind of a problem to navigate across streaming, and that the best way to solve it isn't necessarily with another algorithm, even though we do give you predictive AI insights on what you want to watch.
For market shares, a lot of times we're having Whitman students in the business school tune in. So talk to that young entrepreneur. What caused you to say, I want to take on this task, and what does that road to launching the app look like?
Yeah, no, so I mean, at a high level, I worked at a big company and worked in investment banking right out of school, and then I worked at another tech company for the last 9 years, up until I left to go full time on this. And I learned a lot of things, met a lot of people, built relationships, right, that put me in a position where I felt comfortable to start my own business. I'd say, there's this kind of fear of failure in starting something new. I had a stable income, right? So it's one of those things that you have to really believe in what you're doing.
You mentioned that you have to learn how to manage failure. What does that look like? Were there steps that you failed along the way to get to where you are today?
With this business, some things not happen that we expected from a funding perspective or with a teammate, right? And so there's always going to be challenges, and it's about looking at those as opportunities, right? And just kind of continuing to put one foot in front of the other.
You started with that stable income, you started with a job, but for students that want to start here in college, is it too early to get things going for the entrepreneurship role?
I would say definitely not, right? Like, I think, I did some entrepreneurial things on the side when I was younger, and those are great learning experiences, right?
Well, thank you, Mrs. Schroeder, for joining us. You can download Streamline on the App Store, and as you did say, Google Play Store later in the year?
Yeah, so sometime soon. Yeah, I don't want to give an exact date, but not too far down the line. Yeah, it's on the top part of our radar.
Absolutely. More market shares to come after this short break.
Everybody has a dream. Mine was to see the ocean. And with a little help, I made it.
Leaving hot coals improperly extinguished can cause a wildfire.
Hey guys, it's Smokey!
It looks as if Smokey is going to use the drown, stir, drown, and feel technique. After the first drown, a good start. Next, another drink. And finally, a close feel.
Is it cool? Okay. Yeah. Hey, Smokey, catch! Oh, my bad, Smokey.
Only you can prevent wildfires.
The black truck? Hey, Christina from accounting.
Yeah, hi.
Hey, I used to date a girl named Christina.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and then she dumped me for my best friend. You want to see some photos of them that I took?
I don't.
I thought we talked about this, buddy.
Buzzed and overshared again?
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm gonna call a car.
That's a smart idea.
So, yeah, I know. That's why I did it.
Hey, you're gonna get back to the top of the mountain.
Does that mean I'm gonna get back with Christina?
No.
Oh.
No.
During the fourth quarter of this episode of Market Shares, Mike's Super Bowl Sunday is 2 days away, and it's not just about the football, it's about the food. Is this an Uber Eats ad? The question is, how much will that spread cost you this year?
Well, if I did the math correctly, Peter, for a party of 10, $140. That's a ridiculous price tag, but I want to talk about predictions here.
Yes, let's get to the game. The Chiefs are a 1-point favorite. They are two-time defending champions. I don't know, I can't bet against them. I would say if I was a betting man, I'm going Chiefs. How about
Well, I got to say quickly, I think it's going to be the Eagles because they have Saquon Barkley. They didn't have that last year.
That's right. That's right. As a Giants fan, as a New York guy, you got to go with your guy Saquon. We're looking forward to seeing that game on Sunday, Chiefs and Eagles. Enjoy the party. Thank you so much for watching this episode of Market Shares. For Mike Lamorte, I am Peter Elliott. Enjoy the game. Enjoy your weekend.